What's up, guys? Today taking a look at how you're going to replace a water regulator valve. So this is the main line that comes in, and you got to turn your main off. And then you got a union here and a union here, and what you want to do is put a wrench on this side, and then righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, you're going to break this loose, and then we got to break this side loose. And you can see usually this is 3/4 that is your main, but this is 1/2 inch line, and then they got a bunch of shit. But anyway, this is bad. So this is like a $200 unit here. You could rebuild these, but I don't have the time to wait, so I just bought a whole new one, which is a little different, and it's about, I think, $60 or $70. So I'm gonna hold on to this one. I'm gonna rebuild it, and how you test this is, we'll take a look later on. It's a water pressure gauge that you just hook up to your washing machine or a wash tub or whatever, and it shouldn't be over 80. Like this valve here, I can't get up here because it's very tight, but 25 to 75 psi, they don't recommend going above 80. They come set from the factory. This one, you can see I have it pretty far all the way out, and it's not doing nothing. It's still giving me 125 psi. So we're gonna rip this one out, and then we're gonna have to, measure out for the new one, because the new one is shorter. So let me break this union off of here and we'll cut back. Alright, so if any of this footage is blurry, it's gonna be too bad. It's I'm up on a ladder here and it's kind of hard, but anyway, I tried breaking this union off of here, and there is a adapter that they have going from 1/2 inch to 3/4, and this is well over 1 inch. There's no way I'm just turning the whole regulator this way, so I'm gonna have to, and you might run into the same thing, so you're gonna have to just take this one and turn it off of this here. Alright, so after you're gonna have to, this thing's dripping on me, so what I did is I shoved a towel in here, and you get the union apart here, and then you're gonna have to take a wrench and put it on here, and then twist the whole unit this way until it comes off. Alright, so what I ended up doing was I unsweat that valve back there. That was a shit valve anyway, and we'll pan down here. So there's the regulator, and then this is the valve here, and somewhere the handle is. But this broke, oh, here's the handle. This broke off here. You could see this went on like so, and this is the pipe up above that was sweated on there. This valve is junk anyway, so I'm gonna put another union in like this on that's where that was, put a new piece of copper in, sweat it, and then we'll take this one off and we'll attach it to a new piece of copper on this side. Okay, so after you unsweat that, or whatever your case is, you have to clean that copper up real good. Okay, so here's the regulator. Now you got to take note. You see this arrow? That means in. So you're in line from your, line that brings the water in. That's going to be that part. There's going to be an O-ring. Now this is universal, left or right. So the O-ring can go on this way or this way, and then you got your union that screws on to here, and then we got a male half, and that's going to screw onto there, and then we're going to take a piece of this copper and we're going to insert it in there. So we're going to sweat that, and then we have this other union here which has 3 pieces. Now the important part is that piece up above. You got to put this on first, and then you take this piece and you put it on and you sweat it, because this goes in there like that. This gets tightened to this, and this piece is going to go on this end here, and you're going to sweat it at this joint. And if you have to break it apart, you'll take this and that out. And honestly, you really didn't need that, but in my case I did. I thought I did anyway, and I'm thinking as I'm talking here. So anyway, that's what we're gonna do. And then on this side here, you're gonna screw this into here, some Teflon tape here, and again some Teflon tape here to here. And when you're sweating, you make sure that O-ring stays out. And then I have another union here that's up, you know, in the ceiling there, the rafters, and the same deal with that. You know, you just, the other part's already soldered to the pipe, the nut, and then this part is going to get soldered to the copper. You'll see when it's done, but figured I'd make a video and hopefully help somebody else out. Okay, so you could see that nut back there, and then I sweated that on there. So it would have been preferable if I didn't use a union here and just used a sleeve to connect the pipe, or ideally be able to pull the pipe out, put a new 90 on, and extend the copper over, but it's not what it is. Another important tip is make sure you sand the end of your copper and then your nipples inside, and then put flux on both of them. Once you have the flux on there and you have this part seated that it can't go back no more, then you're going to heat this up and then touch the solder, and we'll show you that in a minute. Alright, so for demonstration purposes, you're going to take this and you're going to heat this up and put a little hook like so. You see that? It's getting hot there. Now you see how that did? You just touch that, keep the heat on it. That's going to suck that right in there. And the way you know, if you got that, it should come out the bottom. And when you see it come out the bottom, you're good. And you could see right there, but like if you're doing a 90, you're not going to be able to see in there, but that's how you know it sucks right around there, and then just it wicks right in there. Okay, so you could see the top. Now if I turn this, you could see that bubbled up on the bottom. That's how you know you got a good seal or a good sweat joint. Okay, so you could see this is the union here, and I just left the pipe long because we're gonna have to take some markings. This is the old union right here, and we're gonna have to, well, I already sweat that off, clean that out, and we're gonna have to put another piece of pipe in here to extend over, but we gotta mark that piece out for the regulator. So I'll show you how to do that in a minute. All right, so I gotta mount this on the downside. So in other words, this is gonna come down. Now I have a pipe in the way, and I want this sitting kind of about here. So I'm gonna have to take this piece of pipe that I just put up there, back down, cut a piece, and then we're gonna have to sweat it from here into this. And then you gotta pay attention to that arrow. So my water line comes up, and then this is going to get screwed in here, so we want this to go like so. And we'll show you how to mark that and then sweat it on here and here. And then what you got to do is Teflon this and screw it into this. So again, this is 1/2 inch here. These come in 3/4 as well. Alright, so you can see I sweat this on. Now I left this off purposely because we got to cut this. So we're going to take this nipple, and we only want to come out, you know, maybe an inch, inch and a half, and just have enough and we're going to sweat this end on there. But don't forget to put this over here. And all we're going to do is use a tubing cutter, cut that off, and then we'll sand it up, put this end on here, and then what we'll do before we mount that to the ceiling, we'll put some Teflon on this, screw it into that regulator, and we'll put that part up first, and then we'll take the measurement on the other side. So this only goes in maybe like a 1/2 inch, maybe 5/8 of an inch, if you could see that. But the way you mark it is you flip it over. I was going to show you here. I'll show you a little bit later. Okay, so after you have your piece cut, there's a little deburrer here. You're going to run this and make sure you deburr it. We're going to sand this up, and then we're going to stick this through here like so. And then we're going to take this other piece and we're going to seat it down in there, and we're going to sweat that on. Okay, so after we get that thing put in there, you're going to hit this, and you're going to see how that's going to suck around. You see how that did that? That joint is done. You can see right around there, that whole joint is done. Alright, so there's our little nipple. Now we're going to wrap the Teflon around it and screw it into the one end of the regulator. Alright, so after you have it Tefloned, make sure if you're putting this upward, just pay attention to the arrow. I'm mounting mine downward, and then we're going to screw this into there. Okay, so you can see what I did. I just tightened that in there, and if you have to use some leverage, just take a vise and put this here and hold it, and then torque on this nut over here, and then just, you know, snug it up pretty good so you don't have no leaks. Okay, so this is the part that's going to go on the regulator, and the O-ring sits in there. This is the other male part that you're going to have to screw into here, so you got to Teflon that. Make sure you sand that, because we're going to have another sweat joint there. Alright, so I'm going to mount this piece in a vise, and then just tread this on here. We'll bring that forward, and then we'll use a wrench and tighten that down. Okay, so you could see how we got this connected here. We got this pipe up here, and then all I did was take a rough mark, just eyeball it. We're going to take the tubing cutter and cut this here, and then we're going to sand this here, and we're going to sweat these two together, and then this comes off, and then that O-ring will go on. Okay, so we got that pipe just hand tight. Don't forget to put that O-ring on, and now we're going to move this pipe here, and we're going to tighten this up to here, make all our joints tight, turn the main back on, see if we have any leaks where we sweat back here, 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 and then, you know, where the Teflon, of course, is, and here, 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 and make sure this union is good too. Okay, so there you go. The water's turned back on, and that's what she looks like. And this here, they do make a kit, so when this goes bad, they make a screen, a diaphragm, and everything. I didn't look into it really. I just wanted to get this up and running. Now we'll go ahead and test the water pressure at the faucet with the gauge I was talking about. Okay, so this is a Watts gauge. This you're just going to zero out, the red one. When we turn, we have it hooked up to the wash tub. All we're going to do is turn the cold on. You're going to see that spiked at 140. So our water pressure is at 50. Max should never exceed 80. That pressure regulator that I just put up there should be between 25 and 75. So you figure if that's 60, 65, a little past, or 60, 70, a little past there, to be between 80. But you could see that's how that works. And then just turn that off, and then you'll unloosen it. You're gonna get a little whatever water, and then you can test it again. So I prefer to have a little bit more pressure than that, and we'll go back and we'll show you how to adjust it. When you screw it out, meaning counterclockwise, you reduce the pressure. When you screw it in clockwise, you'll increase the pressure. So right now we're a little under 50, which I am not happy with that, so I'm gonna have to mess with that. Okay, so what you do is you break this lock nut, and you can see there's a nylon bushing there. All you do is snug that, but we're gonna keep that loose. And again, mine's upside down, so you're gonna twist it righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. When you increase it like righty-tighty, you're pushing that up. You're gonna increase the water pressure. And the reason I decided to go ahead and do this is because when somebody's in the kitchen and in the bathroom, there's not enough pressure. So we're gonna increase that to at least 70. So we're gonna take a screwdriver, we're gonna turn it clockwise, and all we're gonna do is a quarter turn. Okay, so I got it dialed into where I about wanted it, and you could see that is peaking at about 115, and we're right about 70. So I'm gonna call it quits, and that should be good.